ma'am.
So I'm Sarvam Paramisham Dukkham, Sarvam Atmavasham Sukham, Etad Vidyat Samasena, Lakshanam Sukha Dukkhayoho. जो सब अर्थात जो सब अन्यों के वश में होता है वह दुख है, जो सब अपने वश में होता है वह सुख है। यही संक्षेप में सुख एवं दुख का लक्षण है। मीनिंग, डिपेंडेंस इज सॉरो, self dependence is happiness. This discrimination shows the difference between happiness and sorrow. Atmanirbhar, which is the underlying motivation for today's virtual gathering. Good morning and a warm welcome for the inaugural session of the grand finale of Toycathon 2021 Digital Edition. I, Vijaya, on behalf of the National Institute of Industrial Engineering NITI, Mumbai, would like to thank all the dignitaries, officials from the Ministry of Innovations, Education's Innovation Cell, the evaluators, the participants, the teachers, and all the attendees for gracing this occasion. Today, we have with us the chief guest, Dr. Subhashis Chaudhary, Director, IIT Bombay, the guest of honor, Ms. Purnima Sitaraman, Director of Game Design, Zynga, Professor Manoj Tiwari, Director, NITI, Mumbai, Professor Sushmita, Toycathon 2021 Nodal Center, SPOC, NITI, and Professor Ruchita, Coordinating Team Lead for Toycathon 2021 Digital Edition, NITI. Under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, initiated by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, Toycathon 2021 invites India's innovative minds to conceptualize novel toy and games based on Bharatiya civilization history, culture, mythology, and ethos. Toycathon 2021 is an interministerial initiative organized by the Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell with support from the All India Council for Technical Education, Ministry of Women and Child Development, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Ministry of MSME, Ministry of Textile and Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Toycathon 2021 is unique opportunity for students, teachers, startups, toy experts or professionals in India to submit their innovative toys or games concepts. This event is going to be conducted in digital mode by virtual nodal centers from 22nd to 24th June 2021. Now, I would like to invite Professor Manoj Tiwari, Director NITI, for the welcome address. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Vijaya. And I will just brief that what is the main theme of this particular event and why actually this Toycathon 2021 has been organized. So I have a small presentation and after that I will go ahead as per your plan. Am I visual, Vijaya?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Yeah, slides are also visible, sir.
Okay. Okay. So Toycathon 2021 is basically a as we know that these toys not only entertain, they also distribute, they also build minds and also bring confidence in the people. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has given this slogan, and where also it is a well-known fact that play is the beginning of the knowledge, and keeping such kind of very pithy statements, you can see that this is a very massive event with the help of many of the government ministries, including Ministry of Education, Ministry of Child and Women Development, and a few Ministry of Information Technology, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Ministry of the MSME, Textile, and Information and Broadcasting. They have jointly given a call for this Toycathon 21, and idea is to challenge the India's innovative minds and to conceptualize the novel toy and games, and also to boost our economy and promoting small ventures, and also create India as a viable center for manufacturing. We know very well that presently the toy market is mostly captured by the Chinese products, and therefore some of the other details which are there with respect to this competition also I am bringing before you. As you can see that the digital toy basically is a new idea where we have seen that virtual guides like talking toy, then heritage trains and steam-based virtual museums which are integrated with the AI and ML technologies. And then we have a digital game based on application to solve many mathematical problems like action and adventure games. And there are a lot of other smart textile toy, doodle war, game mirroring the real life fitness and activities. Similarly, there are physical toys which are showing for solving the puzzles and figuring based on the military personnel using in the war games. I personally have been part of many of the Navy's efforts where they have blue forces and red forces, and based on that, they have simulating a lot of war games actually. Then design card games for people with the dementia, and then toy or game for learning with Center for Mass Gravity. As figuring out the modern and ancient Indian heroes and rishis, they have also been part of designing several kind of mind games actually. Then eco-friendly smart home appliances with decorative showpieces of the toys, and other games which are for learning geometry like 2D and 3D shapes. Then there are both that is digital and physical toy, both where mixing of technologies. They like simulators, where world building simulators meant for testing the automobile, and even driver simulators are there through which one can test the skill of driver and pilot. So there are multiple player gaming applications that focuses on enhancing their emotional intelligence and fight depressions. Then there are electronic toy to identify the obstacles, eco-friendly smart home appliances with decorative showpieces and toys. And like this, there are digital spanning of the top applications, including map and land forms, crafts, and culture, climate change, and there are military war gaming, etc. So as you can see, this evolution of toys and games, they're pretty long, like say toys for soldiers, dolls, then ball and marbles, skipping ropes, and then wooden animals, which are very common in the childhoods actually. Then wooden and clay type of dolls, kite, spinning topics, then nut live ones, and there are many model horses with wheels, hooves, and rocking horses. And keeping this in mind, all the kids can remember very well that movie Masoom, Lakadi ke Kathi ke Ghoda. So this kind of song was very popular only to remember that how the kids loves this kind of song actually. And I have seen that many kids, they were not taking food, but whenever they blow this kind of song, then they start taking the food actually. So modern toys like video games, Monopoly, then Lego sets, then toy robots. There are many robot dogs and robot smart robots. Then self-playing xylophone machines, digital pet, and a lot of other smart, you can say, activities like say kaleidoscope, then model aircraft, then model car, and of course, model railways also. So keeping all this in mind, you can see that a lot of scope is there where people can apply different kind of technology to design, develop different kind of games that they are physically or digitally, and they all have this massive applications. And accordingly, I just wanted to set the things that such a powerful technologies which are emerging, they are also being used in this industry. So with this, Susmita, actually just I completed my basic introductions of the today's theme, and over to you.
Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening the gathering and taking us from the traditional to the advanced games and the types of games, the evolution of the games. Now, I feel privileged to introduce the guest of honor, Ms. Purnima Sitaraman. Ms. Purnima has been the part of gaming industry since 2006 and has worked with some of the best names in Indian gaming industry, including India Games, Disney India, where she got the opportunity to work on Bishot Mobile, Jumpstart NetDragon, GSN Games, Square Enix, etc. She found games dev by chance, but chose it as her career completely out of her passion for games and translated that passion further for co-founding Pinaka Interactive, a game design studio, and Namalore Entertainment, a game development studio. Punima believes in using the power of gaming to create a meaningful and impactful change in thinking. She also strives to make the industry more diverse and safe. She is currently part of the Zynga family as a director, game design. She is a Woman in Games ambassador at WIGJ and also in the process of setting up a Women's in Games community for India. Purnima is also visiting faculty, project consultant, and curriculum committee member at National Institute of Design, as well as conducts workshops for other reputed institutes. She has worked across a wide variety of genres, including puzzle games, free to play games, FPS, RPG, MMO, social casino, and augmented reality. She has judged and spoken at various design festivals and conferences like TEDx, Pocket Gamer Connects, etc. She is also one of the mentors of Google's Indie Game Accelerator India. She has also been inducted into the Women in Games Global Hall of Fame in 2020, making her first Indian receive such an honor. She was also one of the winner of the Spatial Recognition Award 2020 and one of the runner-up of Mentor of Year 2020 by the Women Tech Network. Now I request Ms. Purnima Sitaraman to enlighten the guide audience with her experience and wisdom. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, what an honor it is to be here. And thank you, Professor Vijaya, for the introduction. And thank you, Professor Shushmita, for inviting me to Toycathon 2021. Thanks to Niti for hosting this, and a huge round of applause to everyone who made this happen, especially all the inter-ministries who are supporting this wonderful event. Now, since my introduction is already done, let's move on to the topic. So while gaming and game development happened by chance to me, the one thing that made me decide this is what I wanted to do was the medium itself. Unlike any other mediums, I think gaming brings in that interactivity, the feeling of immersion, the experience to be part of something larger than ourselves. So I've always equated it with dreams, where even if we were all to share the same dream, the way we feel about it could be very different. So in games, we call them as player types or player personas. Like we identify a group of people and figure out what is it that motivates them and what drives them to engage with our game. And then we create content catered for them. To give you an example, when you watch a movie and you try to retell the story to someone, you often refer to those characters by their names. It's always like in third person, right? But when it comes to games, it's you. You transform into that character. It becomes very personal. Whether you're playing a Monopoly or a Snake and Ladder, it's about you winning, you losing. It's super personal. Now, it's either as a character or someone you're rooting for, or you become that character, you're playing something. It's all about the choices that you make. And then there are games in which these choices also lead to some consequences, very much like real life. In fact, every action you do has been created in a system and set of rules to give you some form of reaction for every input. Now, games are also great tools for storytelling, to preserve history, to create social impact and a change in thinking. It can teach, it can heal, it can give you a break from your regular routine as well. It is more than just mere entertainment. I remember getting interested in Greek mythology when I played this game called Zeus. And then I started exploring the Dungeons and Dragons, which is like the mega epic Bible of role playing games. And I realized what a vast, fantastical universe these designers had created with it. And the mere thought of being able to do that myself just made me fall in love with this medium, the potential of it, that I could create and materialize any world I wanted and make it for someone else to consume and be happy in that world. Now, when we talk about preserving history, so when the 800-year-old Notre Dame church unfortunately burnt down, not only did the game development community help raise funds to rebuild it, but the game called Assassin's Creed Unity had a replica of the church in the game. Over 5,000 hours of research and roughly 14 months of effort was put into recreating this in the game. And today it might be helping in rebuilding the Notre Dame church. So imagine the kind of potential games as a medium can have. When I was at NID, we were also looking into recreating Humpy, recreating the origins of it, recreating how it used to look at that era. And as a country that's rich in culture and heritage, imagine the depths at which we can explore and immortalize this and give the entire world a piece of our heritage to experience unlike any other. Even things that have been forgotten, that don't exist anymore, we can recreate it. We can write our own stories. Now, all of us remember the good old folk tales that we have heard growing up, the Panchatantras, the Jatakas, and all of that, right? And even the ones our grandparents used to tell us. Imagine being able to bring that to life or create your own version of that. Now, my own personal dream project is a Carnatic music puzzle adventure game. I want to make that as a tribute for my late aunt, T.R. Balamani. She was a guru for Shankar Mahadev and Bombay Jayashree and 150, 200 other people. So I wanted to immortalize her in a game that takes you through the beauty of Carnatic music fusion and make it available globally for everyone to consume. Something to be proud of, something to put out there. Now, when we talk about creating Indian based content, right, like there are two approaches to it as well. So, what do we like to play as Indians? And what do we put out to represent India globally? In many cases, these two intersect as well. Take an example of a game called Uncharted Lost Legacy. Now, this was not made in India, and the only reason I'm giving this as a reference is this actually featured a lot of Indian elements. It featured the Western Ghats, and the writers who focused on Hinduism and our surrounding mythology when researching for the story for this game. And it was well received across the world. So imagine being able to create something like that ourselves. And today we do have a lot of indie game developers approaching Indian content for the globe as well as making content for India. We also have titles like Ludo King, right? Which has been it's taken the world by storm, taken India by storm, that have catered for Indian audience, something we all know how to play. We have been used to it. We have played it as a fun family time activity. So one thing to always call out is, we have been creators and early adopters of games right from an early era as well. Chess, snake and ladders, chowper, parcheesi, palanguri, spinning tops, marbles, ganji fights. This is so much more. And then there are games out there to heal people from grief. to aid with mental health. We have heard from our players, while the intention of a farm will may not be to help that, but we have seen that, people were able to immortalize their loved ones who were not with them anymore by the farms that they had set up. So they say, like, when I log into my son's account, I can see what he created, and we have immortalized him that way. So even when it is not necessarily the intention, the impact it can have is huge. So always imagine the reach and potential for it. Now, education institutes, real estate, tourism, healthcare, almost every medium is adopting games and gamification as a better way to reach out and engage with their consumers. For example, let's think of virtual reality as a technology. Games are almost always the first medium to adopt new technology and experiment with it. Today, physically disabled folks or older folks who never had the opportunity to, say, experience things like a roller coaster or a bungee jumping, today they can do that and experience a good portion of it through virtual reality. So, the extent, and it need not just be about what you're experiencing, what you're teaching. Physiotherapy is something that you can do through VR, and it has helped a lot of people. And of course, Professor Tiwari had also covered a lot of these interesting features of scientific toys and games and the evolution of games in his presentation. So, yes, the opportunities are limitless. Now, coming to game development itself. When you think about creating a game, the first thing you should ask is, who are you making it for? Whether it is toys or games or product, this is the first question you ask. What is the problem statement? What is the end goal of it? Will they like playing this or using this product? How is it relatable? Are you making it for a cause, or are you basing it on a theme? Have you captured it well? Will your players or your consumers be able to resonate with it? You have to keep asking yourself these questions in what we call as our brainstorming sessions. This will help you arrive at the concept of your product or game. Now, it is important to always know the what and the why before we move on to the how. Once you have the concept ready, remember that this is a hackathon and it is time bound. So you have to plan and organize your ideas. Be very clear with your structure. Make things iterative, modular, like build it in layers. You don't need a complex system to make a fun experience. Often it's the minimalistic, simplistic things that are at most fun. Quality over quantity. To give you a hypothetical real world example, imagine that you have like the best house ready to showcase at the topmost floor of a high story building, but you are yet to provide lift access. So then what's the point? Most people will not even get there and see it, and you will lose 90% of your customers. So, yes, it's a 3-day hackathon. Split your tasks and perform them to the best of your ability. Don't stress about adding too much content. Games are essentially systems with rules, interaction, and aesthetics. How you define them is up to you. I think every product comes with these components, right? When it comes to video games, there's an amount, like games or in general, there's an amount of interactivity that's what you add. So, always we would say think of something called the core loop, which is essentially means the repeated actions your players will perform in the digital game to advance and make progress in the game. So identify the core of it and build on it. And the same goes for a product where it may not be repeated actions, but about what is it that they will use this toy to, what is the purpose of it? How often would they use it? So these are some things that will help you clarify your thought process. And remember that if you are having fun making it and if you're enjoying it, very likely your consumers will too. And hackathons are a great way to jump right into the creation of things. Irrespective of whether you win or not, this is going to be a lifetime experience for you to cherish, hone, and grow. Every small step counts. So give it your best shot and definitely have fun while you're at it. That's what matters. And don't stop after this. Use this to build new things, build better things, to improve, to upgrade. We need people like you. Let's be Atmanirbhar and let's be vocal for local. With that, I conclude my speech. Thank you for listening and having me here. Have a great Toycathon.
Thank you very much, madam, for insightful talk and throwing light on the different perspective of games. Thank you very much. Now I request Professor Manoj Tiwari, sir, to introduce and invite the chief guest, Dr. Subhashish Chaudhary, Director, IIT Bombay. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Vijay. I'm audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you are.
Uh, it's my proud privilege to welcome Professor Subhashish Chaudhary, the chief guest of today's function. Uh, Let me tell you that it's a rare opportunity for people like us to see such a, you can say, accomplished scholar who hails from a village, very small village called Bahutali in Murshidabad district of West Bengal. And from there, he made one of the best rankers in West Bengal board, then joined IIT Kharagpur and passed in 85 with the BTech in the electronics and electrical communication engineering. And thereafter, Professor Chaudhary moved to uh, the University of Calgary, Canada for his MS, and then joined University of California, San Diego for PhD. He is well known for his studies on the computer vision and you can say many of its application in the medical field and also in different domains where you can find imaging, image analysis, machine learning, and its applications. And in this our country, one of the highest award that goes for scientific development and evolution is Santi Swarup Bhatnagar Award that has been won by Professor Chaudhary. And then you can say that Bikram Sarabhai Research Award and Professor SBC Aya Memorial Award. And in 2007, Professor H.H. Mathur Excellence Award. And 2010, G.D. Birla Award. Uh, 2011, the Nasi Reliance Industries Platinum Jubilee Award. And he is only among the rare scholars in the country who is the fellow of all the four powerful academies of India, including the NASHI, INSA, INE, and Indian Academy of Sciences, Bangalore. In addition to that, Professor Chaudhary is also blessed to have the fellowship of IEEE, which is very, very prestigious body with respect to the international recognitions. And it's my very good luck that he is my role model professor, and also he has been the achiever of Distinguished Alumnus Award from IIT Kharagpur, from where I belong. And I can say that the moment you be with Professor Chaudhary, you always feel that how are you in a company of the scholars, no? Who always stimulate you to do something immensely good. So with this note, actually, I just want to complete my introduction to a glorious people like Professor Chaudhary, who is role model for many of us. So now I think over to Professor Chaudhary or Vijaya, whatever your next point is. Please.
Thank you, Professor Tiwari. I think it's a great pleasure for me to be here on this special platform to go for a very, very special program, Toycathon. And my sincere greetings to you, Professor Tiwari, Professor Vijaya, Purnima. And I was listening quite spellbound, okay, the way Ms. Purnima put forward the whole concept of what is a toy, making up a toy, and what one should do with that. I think that very well sums up, I think, the day's event to follow. Because today we are here for something that is to continue for the whole day, and by which you are supposed to design novel, innovative toys which can actually take us some kind of a learning experience for young as well as maybe the older people like me also. And that's what we are expecting from this Toycathon. Now, I was thinking that, like toy, it's a very simple thing, Kelowna, whatever you call it. It's probably one of the most primitive things that human civilization actually brought in as the civilization got developed. And if you look, the all that many of the people who could get it from some of the oldest civilization, including, say, let's say for us, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, there have been large number of figurines and other kind of things which actually were excavated, which were used as a toy, okay, in those days, okay. And similarly, if you look for Egypt, you see, we talk about this pyramid and others, and inside that, the next to the mummy, there would be certain playful things, which would be some of these toys. So were the Greeks, okay. And of course, modern day China is flooded with only toys, okay. Now the question is, if you look at this human evolution, why did we have toys? Because those days, as we need, your basic existence was a lot more difficult than what it is today. Okay. But still, when they had time, okay, they realized that there is certain value for things like toys. Okay. And this is there, understood even probably 5,000 years ago, okay, when during some of the civilization. And I think if I can go ahead, and I was looking, if you read Ramayana and Mahabharata, and one of the folklore that goes that with Sita's kid, okay, Lava, was absent for quite a while from the ashrama with the Valmiki. And Valmiki was supposed to do in today's term what we call babysitting, because Sita was not there, okay, during that time. And Lava has gone out, probably, he was a child prodigy, and it was not found to be there, I think. And Sita was supposed to come back, and Valmiki was very, very, I think, worried that what would Sita feel, because the only kid is not there anywhere in the ashram. So he made a figurine, okay, using kusha, okay, and that actually those days then it was given the kind of a life, and that became the twin brother of Lava, when we call it Lava Kusha. This is, of course, a folklore or a story. But the fact that you realize that this kind of scenario, people conceptualize that when you look at a figurine or certain things as a playful toy, it represents something. Actually, it's a representational kind of value for anything that we as human being try to do it. Okay. And at a very young age, when you are actually forming new concepts, new learning experience, okay, such figurines, okay. I mean, people have seen things like Barbie or whatever in our own dolls, like some of the dolls that I think it was nicely put forward in your presentation. They actually are often representational. There is also certain thing for cuddling, because when you are as a kid little worried, if there is like a thunderstorm or something, okay, then you take recourse to being, alive with certain additional thing when you may not be with your parents or other people, when you feel comfort that yes, I am with somebody. It's not, of course, during the COVID time, it's more relevant because most of the time you are alone. And this could actually give you a lot of comfort. It's not just for kids, it's for even older people. Okay. And gaming, particularly, see, toy and gaming, sometimes we put it in a almost equal footing, because what do you do with a toy? You play. So that's when, and when you say gaming, nowadays, of course, the term is universally used for digital gaming and arcades and other things. But let us not get into all the divisional thing. That's, I think, Ms. Purnima could do better, but I am not the expert on that. But the fact remains is that, there is something which is common, no matter whether it's a physical small toy or something which is an AR, VR capable, certain things is in the gaming platform. It's something which is very important. It's called immersion. How immersed I am while playing with a toy or a game. And that adds value. So it's like something that I am right now in my, room here. But when I'm playing with something, like let's say in a video game, whatever, maybe it's a Counter-Strike, if you like, whatever, could be a distracting game. But you are now transported into somewhere else and you are like part of it. You get hit, you hit something, okay, which is not the right thing to do. But what I'm trying to say is that you are, somehow ported into a completely different space. Okay. So this space that you are going to create in whatever format that you do, if it is a physical, like a pure toy making, a bamboo toy, or it could be a digital toy, or some in a mixed form, whatever you do, because nowadays that's also there. You can have like, some kind of augmented reality form of games are also there. You can use many other, like, something which is like a touch, because, if there are, because I personally work also in the touch area, and sometimes some of the gaming could involve the touch aspects. So whatever the kind of game that you will be designing today, please keep in mind that the value of the toy that you have generated depends on what kind of immersion that it creates into the mind of the player, what kind of learning experience it does. As we say that this is, like a Indian value system, like let's say if you look at this, or whatever, like supposing you are somewhere in African continent, is they have their own value system. The question is that, can you provide that localized value? Now, sometimes we talk about imported toys, okay? And we get a lot of toys which is flooding our market from China and other places. But sometimes what happens, there is a little disconnect between this kind of toys and the toy, the culture that we often have with us. And what we require today is that we should be, in some sense, be appreciative of the fact that there has to be a cultural and value-based connect with the kind of toys that are being designed. And this is one of the things, because toy is a great learner when you are a kid, okay? And your learning process starts with playing with toys, okay? Of course, there are other issues that you should look into that, when sometimes the toys are often has a kind of a problem that personally I feel in today's context is that it doesn't contextualize what is happening in terms of the way where we are today, and that involves sometimes stereotyping of certain phenomena or certain characteristics of our society through the kind of the toys or the games that we play. Now, it has to be a careful design by all of you so that such kind of stereotyping of our society doesn't happen, because it can have a negative role to play, because we want issues like gender sensitivity. And I can give you an example. Sometimes what happened earlier days, it was always taken that if you have like small dolls, like figurines like Barbie, this is for only a feminine, toy. Whereas something like of small boys, they may be like doing with cars or something like this, or G.I. Joe, or whatever the kind of thing that you think of. Now, of course, they should play, with whatever it is, but it should not be a kind of a stereotyped game or a toy where people just being, it somehow propagates that kind of, the stereotyping phenomenon. So, uh, you know, I think on this platform, we have a lot of very young and enthusiastic people who have joined here today to participate. So first of all, I wish you all very good luck, because you have a day ahead to do and design. And I know that all of your things will bring in different value. And also look at when you do it at the end of it, this Toycathon has the proposition that some of these toys should also be marketable. So the last point I would like to address that whatever you design, you see that whether this can be productionized at a cheaper, level, so that some of them can be absorbed and taken over by the industry. And hopefully, it can actually go into individual houses. It's not just like one sample piece in a museum, okay, or at your home. So that would be, I think, should be the ultimate destiny of what you design. So please do consider that something so that there is a market potential, so that there are tomorrow's kids can actually benefit from what you. Of course, it may need a lot of tweaking and others. There are a lot of fine tuning. That's perfectly fine. But do come up with this, and we look forward to, at least personally, I look forward to maybe playing with this because when I retire with some of these games. So thank you so much, and good luck to all of you.
So the value of the toy generated should be having the immersion and the learning experience would be for the players or users. So this is what the address or the gist of this SIR's session. So thank you very much for enlightening the audience with your experience and wisdom, sir. I'm sure that the participating teams, evaluators, and audience immensely benefited from today's session. Now, I would like to invite our own Professor Sushmita to brief about the Toycathon 2021 schedule and vote of thanks. Madam, over to you.
Thank you, Vijaya. I'm very sure that none of us are in need of a cup of morning coffee or morning tea. I feel completely energized with the two lectures by the guest of honor and the chief guest and the welcome address by Professor Tiwari. And I hope that our evaluators and project teams feel the same. It was a great motivating talk by all three of you. Thank you so much. A few pointers regarding the Toycathon 2021. Number one, at 9 a.m., we have the national level inauguration. So please attend the inauguration. The 3-day schedule for Toycathon 2021 consists of mentoring and evaluation sessions on each day. Evaluators have been assigned by the Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell to project teams who are working on digital games and cardboard or thermocol or clay-based toys. On the first half of every day, the evaluators are going to be mentoring the project teams in a 2-hour slot. And based upon the inputs received in the evening, the project teams will be evaluated by the same evaluators. On day 2, project teams are going to be shortlisted based upon the evaluators' decisions. And on day 3, we are going to have the grand finale of the shortlisted teams. There is no mentoring session on day 3, but a power judging round. So this is the 3-day intense 3-day event that we have in place for all of you. From our side, I think we are completely prepared. We have a very great team of faculty coordinators headed by Professor Ruchita. Ruchita, can you just say hi? Yeah. And student coordinators who are organizing all of the backend requirements for these sessions. I think this would not have been possible without them. In this virtual environment, they are the most tech-savvy people who come up with the most brilliant ideas. So hats off to all of them. This is not a valedictory, but I'm still placing my thanks to all of you. So now, as we end today's session, I thank all of you for attending today's event, our respected dignitaries, our respected panelists, officials from the ministry. We are very thankful to the Ministry of Education for this very brilliant opportunity. Definitely, this would not have been possible unless we had the leadership of Professor Tiwari, Director NITI, who told us to attempt the Toycathon. And we are in completely high spirits right now. As they say, the Josh is very high. So thank you, sir, for giving us this opportunity and giving your support always. Thank you to all the project teams as well as the evaluators who are in attendance today, all our virtual participants from NITI, students, faculty, staff, officers. Thank you for attending today's session and for also the background support provided by all of you in different ways. So we will end today's session over here. Just one group photograph that we would have before the end of the session, and then we can complete the session. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, very much.